This is Valley View News.
The U.S. and its allies launched airstrikes against the Libyan leader's military forces.
We need to realign our priorities.
Hundreds of war protesters marched in Hollywood to mark the 8th anniversary of the Iraq War.
You get inspired by people. I mean, people are extremely cheerful.
Runners took part in this year's Los Angeles Marathon despite heavy rain and cold weather.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Diego Santiago.
And I'm Erin Giddens. Western military forces continue their campaign against ground forces loyal to Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi's compound in Tripoli was left a mangled mess after coalition airstrikes. A U.S. spokesman said the goal is not to remove Gaddafi, but to break down the Libyan air defense system. President Obama says the U.S. will maintain a limited role to protect Libyan citizens. The strikes hit just 100 yards from Gaddafi's residence that President Ronald Reagan bombed a quarter-century ago.
U.S. anti-war protests have been rare since President Obama took office, but thousands of protesters marched in Los Angeles for the 8th anniversary of the war in Iraq. Valley View News reporter Rosalind San Juan was at the scene. Rosalind?
Anti-war groups protested in Los Angeles for what they called an international day of protest against the wars in the Middle East and economic budget cuts.
Money for jobs and education.
Money for jobs and education.
Not for war and occupation.
Over 4,000 anti-war demonstrators hit the streets of Los Angeles for the annual International Day of Protest. The demonstrators were demanding for an end to U.S. war and military intervention in Iraq, Afghanistan, and now Libya. They were also voicing out against educational cuts and unemployment. The protesters marched for over a mile, starting from Hollywood and Vine, and ended at Grauman's Chinese Theater.
The march was organized by the Answer Coalition, a group that was formed just days after the 9/11 attacks. Now, it's formed by many prominent individuals and organizations.
Action Coalition organizer and Iraq war veteran Mike Preisner says majority of Americans are against the wars.
More than 2/3 of people in the United States are now against the war in Afghanistan. So we hear in the streets echoing that majority sentiment and saying that we're against the wars, the vast majority of people in this country are against the wars, but if we want them to end, it has to be through a determined people's movement in the streets, because this government is not going to end it without a fight.
Educator and congressional candidate Marcy Winograd says funding for education is more important than funding for war.
How wrong it is that in one of the richest countries of the world, we have money for endless war, but not for our students. That is wrong. We need to realign our priorities.
Police officers were on hand to make sure of a peaceful protest. However, over a dozen military families were arrested after holding a civil resistance in front of the Grauman Theater. The event was the largest anti-war action in the country that day. The anti-war groups say they will be organizing more protests, but so far there have been few protests compared to the Bush years, and the turnouts have been small by comparison.
Egyptian voters have passed 9 amendments to their constitution. The measures passed by a large margin. One of the changes included a limit of 2 8-year terms for presidency. As of now, there is no limit. The changes also mean it will be easier for independent candidates to run for office. The voter turnout was high, but 171,000 voters were disqualified. Pro-democracy activists are calling for an entirely new rewritten constitution before the presidential and parliamentary election in June.
The German news outlet Der Spiegel has published photographs of what appears to be 2 U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan posing over the bodies of dead Afghans. These images threaten to further complicate the American military effort there. 2 images show the soldiers kneeling by a bloody body sprawled over a patch of sand and grass. A third shows what appears to be 2 bodies propped up back to back against a post in front of a military vehicle. Der Spiegel identifies the soldiers as Jeremy Morlock and Andrew Holmes, who are both facing charges relating to the wrongful deaths of Afghan civilians. The trial for the 2 soldiers is being conducted at a base in Washington State.
President Obama is traveling to Latin America to discuss the areas where the U.S. and Latin America have common interests. Obama spoke about economic growth, energy, security, and human rights. Obama and his family landed in Santiago, Chile on Monday, making him the 5th U.S. president to visit the South American nation. He is also the first U.S. president to use Chile as a platform for a major policy speech.
The slow response to the nuclear crisis in Japan is raising questions about the effectiveness of the International Atomic Energy Agency. The IAEA is being criticized for relying too much on imprecise information from the Japanese government. Agency leaders are saying an extensive evaluation will be needed when the crisis is over, but this is no time to point fingers. The agency stresses that it is important to focus on resolving the situation in Japan before finding problems in the system.
Major cleaning is going on after the heavy rainstorm in Southern California. The March 20th storm uprooted trees, closed highways, and left many people without power. Roads along the Grapevine closed at one point because of snow. Both Topanga Canyon Road and Angeles Forest Highway were also closed. Downtown Los Angeles received over 2 inches of rain. Bob Hope Airport in Burbank canceled 16 flights because of the strong winds. Scattered showers were expected throughout the week.
Rain or shine, the run must go on, even in sunny Southern California. Thousands of athletes battled cold rain and high winds as they went the distance in the LA Marathon. Valley View's Corey Cox took her umbrella and covered the action.
Despite cold weather and rain, thousands showed up to run in the 26th annual LA Marathon. This year's course, called Stadium to the Sea, started at Dodger Stadium and ended in Santa Monica. The LA Marathon accumulated runners from 75 different countries. The top female and male competitors were released earlier than the general public. The women were released 17 minutes before the men. Soon after, the floodgates were opened and a sea of runners were eager to complete the course. Thousands of family members and fans came out early in the morning to see the runners off to a good start. They packed the sidelines at the beginning of the course to cheer on and snap pictures of the competitors. This family came out to support a seasoned runner.
I'm here for my husband. He's running here in the LA Marathon. This is his second run, so he wants to run here again. But it's his third marathon altogether.
The fans lined the course at every mile to keep the runners inspired. Some even found higher ground to catch a better view. The weather worsened as the morning went on. The wind was blowing, heavy rain was falling, and the temperature was a chilly 54 degrees. But still, thousands of loyal fans gathered under umbrellas at Palisades Park to watch the runners cross the finish line. The Santa Monica Red Cross distributed thermal and cotton blankets as the runners finished. This man is an international participant who says despite the weather conditions, he had a wonderful race.
You know, you just start running and you get inspired by people. I mean, people are extremely cheerful. The organization was great as well, very supportive. I think considering the condition, it was a perfect race in a way. Just the weather was not there, but everything else was just perfect.
Poor weather conditions didn't stop nearly 25,000 runners who came out to run in this year's marathon. It also didn't stop all of the fans who came out to support the runners. In Los Angeles, I'm Corey Cox for Valley View News.
After-school programs are popping up in classrooms all over Los Angeles. David M. Johnson went to one North Hollywood school and has a report on one innovative program.
For many children of working parents, the end of the school day also means going home to an empty house.
At home alone, in front of the television, or outside on the streets playing or getting into things that maybe they shouldn't be getting into.
The LA's Best After-School Enrichment Program was created to help keep children engaged during these critical after-school hours.
So the mission of LA's Best is to provide a safe and supervised education, enrichment, and recreation program for children ages 5 to 12.
The program mixes disguised learning through games and lessons with a range of activities that helps boost academic skills. Created by Mayor Tom Bradley in 1998, LA's Best has 28,000 children at 180 school sites. Along with a healthy snack, students also get a little extra help during homework time.
We do our homework, then we go to snack, and then we do our activity, and then we go outside and play.
To do my homework, and when I'm done with my homework, I like to read a book.
Every day in classrooms just like this, the LA's Best program offers a safe, supervised environment. The program is designed to offer a variety of activities designed to encourage learning and to awaken the students' imagination.
For recreational, we have the seasonal sports, and we have drill team. We also have the Wii. Our site has a Wii that the kids absolutely love.
Classes are designed to meet the students' needs.
Whatever the kid is interested in, we really try to incorporate kids' choice into the program at all these sites.
They also take special field trips and attend citywide events throughout the year. Studies show that students who participate in the program graduate high school at a higher rate and are less likely to commit juvenile crimes. Reporting from Fair Elementary in North Hollywood, David M. Johnson, Valley View News.
Coming up after the break, an exciting brand of street ball has come to CSUN.